No matter how patient or professional you are, a situation just goes beyond your pay grade. If a coworker's behavior keeps derailing projects, turning the office vibe toxic, it's probably time to loop in leadership. The trick? Hello, I'm Jerico. As a company director with many years of management experience, I'll share business knowledge that's useful in the workplace, problems companies face, and how to solve workplace troubles in an easy-to-understand manner. In this channel, I'll try to share insights I've gained from business, technology, and living in the Philippines while balancing work, family, and everyday life. Every office has them, the coworkers who test your patience, steer a little too much tension, or make teamwork feel like a group project gone sideways. But the real question is, how do you handle these situations without turning everyday work into a stress marathon? Let's keep it real. Difficult coworkers aren't going anywhere, so it's all about handling them with a mix of calm, confidence, and strategy. So here are 4 practical and surprisingly effective ways to deal with challenging personalities at work without the drama or burnout. Now let's do a deep dive on how to handle difficult people at work. First is identify the behavior, not the person. So remember to use calm, respectful language, and to point out the issues. Be specific. Describe what happened, when, and how it affects the team. Avoid the emotional reactions that can escalate conflict. And here are some ways that you may address problematic behavior in the workplace. Focus on what they do, not on who they are. Avoid labels like difficult or toxic, and calling someone a difficult coworker can make them defensive and close off any chance of improvement. So instead, describe the specific action that caused the problem. Be specific, not vague. So vague if you say, you're always negative. But if you are very specific, like in yesterday's sales meeting, you dismissed 3 team ideas without really suggesting alternatives. So the second example gives the person something concrete to reflect on and change. So separate intent from impact. So they may not intend to slow down work, but the impact is real. Framing feedback around impact. For example, when reports are late, it delays the client communication. This makes it less about blame and more about cooperation and how it slows down the entire team. Document examples when necessary. So if the behavior is going on serious, keep on a record of all the dates, situations, and outcomes. This helps you provide clear evidence if you need to involve leadership later. By focusing on actions, not personality, you keep the door open for a change. People can change who they are overnight, but they can adjust their behaviors when those behaviors are clearly explained. Second is communicate clearly and professionally. So when tempers rise, it's easy to react emotionally. Instead of matching their negativity, focus on professionalism. Keep conversations about the task or issue at hand, not the person's character. This keeps the situation from spiraling and shows that you're committed to solutions, not the arguments. Core ideas. Aim your words at actions, not character. That keeps people from feeling attacked and makes the, change possible. Also use calm, respectful language to reduce defensiveness and open space for solutions. Be intentional. Plan what you'll say, why, and what outcome you want. Prepare for the conversation. Pause and breathe first, and don't speak from anger. Pick the right time and place. Private, low-stress setting, not right after a heated moment. Also, collect the facts, dates, examples, who was affected, and what is the outcome. Decide on your goal. So the information, the behavior change, the apology, or escalation to leadership. What to say or structure to follow. Use this simple format: observation, impact, and request. For observation, you have to be very specific. Example, on Tuesday at 10 a.m. check-in, you interrupted the client update. So the impact is concrete. When that happens, we lose the client's thread and the meeting runs overtime. Request should be very clear. Could you wait until the end of the update to add your point or raise it briefly and we'll allocate a specific time? So keep the sentences short and neutral. Avoid piling on multiple grievances at once. Language and tone. Practical tips. Use the I statements. I noticed, I felt, I'm concerned. These reduce blame. Stay factual, names, dates, behaviors, and not labels. Avoid absolute words like don't use always or never. They make people defensive. Match volume and pacing to calm. Speak a little slower. Lower your volume slightly. Concrete examples of what to say and what not to say. You can do this like do when the weekly report arrived after the deadline on September 8th, the marketing team couldn't finish the deck. And don't, you're always late and unreliable. Another example is do in yesterday's meeting, you dismissed 3 ideas without suggesting alternatives that made others stop contributing. And the other one is stop being negative in meetings. Avoid emotional escalation. So if you feel triggered, pause, propose for a short break, or reschedule the chat or the meeting. Don't mirror tone. Calm is contagious. Anger feeds anger. Don't interrupt. Let the other person speak. Paraphrase their view before responding. If they raise a personal attack, say, I don't want this to become personal, and let's take the facts so that we can resolve the problem. Handling defensiveness or pushbacks. Start with curiosity. Help me understand your side. What was your intent? If the other party deny it, stick to documented facts and impacts rather than re-accusing. So if they admit and respond positively, agree on the next step and timeline. If they become hostile, calmly end the conversation and document the interaction. Follow-up and documentation. So send a short, neutral follow-up email summarizing what was discussed, agreed actions, and review date. Track recurrence. Keep a log of date, behavior, impact, and any steps taken. This helps if the escalation is needed. If behavior continues, escalate with your documented examples and propose solutions like coaching, meditation, role qualification, etc. So why this works? Focusing on behavior preserves the person's dignity and makes them more likely to change. Calm, specific feedback gives others something actionable to fix. Documentation and follow-up create accountability without turning the exchange into a personal fight. Set boundaries and expectations. Some coworkers push limits because they can. Whether it's constant interruptions, dismissive comments, or missed deadlines, you can respectfully draw the line. Be assertive, but stay polite. Let them know what's acceptable and what isn't. Clear boundaries protect both your time and peace of mind. Remember, setting clear rules, responsibilities, and boundaries is one of the strongest ways to stop conflict from repeating. Documenting responsibilities and deadlines. So assign tasks with names and dates. So specifying the assignee's name prevents finger-pointing later. Keep everything visible. Use shared boards or task trackers so everyone sees who is doing what and by when. Put public visibility. This creates natural accountability. Also, regularly review progress, like weekly check-ins or daily stand-ups to confirm the status. If deadline slips, discuss openly. Was the expectation unclear? Does the support or resources needed adjustment or adjusting? Write down the agreement. So after the meeting, send a summary, decisions made, deadlines, and the next steps. Written records prevent selective memory and denial later. Setting boundaries to prevent disruptions. So define work hours and focus time. For example, no messages after 7 p.m. unless it's really urgent. Protect against repeated behavior. If someone keeps crossing boundaries, reference the agreed rules instead of making it personal. Remember, rules create an external standard so that you're not the bad guy. Escalate when necessary. Sometimes, no matter how patient or professional you are, a situation just goes beyond your pay grade. If a coworker's behavior keeps derailing projects or turning the office vibe toxic, it's probably time to loop in leadership. The trick, don't march in with a rant. Come in with the receipts and ideas. Share clear examples of what's happening and suggest ways to fix it. That way, you're not just complaining, you're also problem solving like a pro. So why not every problem can be solved at an individual level? So there's what you call a power imbalance. Some coworkers may ignore peer feedback but respond to authority. If the person has more seniority or influence, peer-to-peer conversations might not carry enough weight. Workplace harmony matters more than one person's comfort. So unchecked, disruptive behavior harms not only you but also the wider team. Protecting the group often requires formal involvement. When do you involve managers or HR? If this is a repeated violation after feedback, for example, you're asked multiple times to respect deadlines or meeting rules, but the behavior hasn't changed. Another is behavior harms morale or safety. So disrespect, bullying, harassment, or discriminatory actions require immediate escalation. So don't handle it alone. Behavior breaks company policy. So breaches in confidentiality, misuse of resources, or insubordination must go through formal channels. So why does escalation not a failure? It shows accountability. You tried to resolve it directly but recognize when it was beyond your scope. That's maturity, not weakness. It also protects the workplace culture. Tolerating ongoing bad behavior, normalize it. Escalation stops the cycle. It ensures fairness and structure. Managers and HR follow company policies designed to handle these situations consistently. Escalating to managers or HR isn't about snitching. It's actually about upholding standards, protecting the team, and ensuring issues don't undermine the workplace. So the bottom line is, difficult coworkers are part of almost every workplace. Sometimes, difficult behavior can come from stress, miscommunication, or personal challenges. So instead of assuming the worst, ask clarifying questions and listen. Empathy does not excuse bad behavior, but it can reduce tension and open doors for communication. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights and about business growth and digital strategies. I hope to see you on the next one. Bye!